Okay, so we have a new cinematic release from Signature Entertainment, and it is called The New Boy, right? So, yeah, this is it's an interesting one for sure, right? It is written and directed by Warwick Thornton. Um, it is produced by Cate Blanchett, Lorenzo D'Amaio, Georgie Pym, Kath Shelper, and Andrew Upton. Executive produced by Gretel Packer and Coco Francini. Nick Cave and Warren Ellis handle the music. Warwick Thornton, he's on cinematography. Nick Myers edits the piece. Anusha Zarkesh took care of casting. Amy Barker, production design. Daniel Willis, art direction. Michael Leon was on set decoration. Costume design is Heather Wallace. Rebecca Barato, Chris Lins, Tess Natoli, Jen Rossiter, and Adele Sherwin were on hair and makeup. So the cast, right? Um, Cate Blanchett is Sister Eileen. Deborah Mailman is Sister Mum. The new boy is played by Aswan Reid. We got George, played by Wayne Blair. Michael, played by Shane Brady. Matthew is played by Tariq Brady. Tyler Spencer is Johnny. Laken Walmington is David. Stephen is played by Callum Miller. James is Kyle Miller. Henry is Tyzalilian Roderick. The tracker is played by Peter Jupiter. Michael is no. The truck driver is Les Rice, and we got a couple of policemen played by Nathan Lawson and Kit Fortune. So the gist of the film is this. In a remote monastery in 1940s Australia, a mission for Aboriginal children is run by a renegade nun, Sister Eileen. A new charge is delivered in the dead of night. A boy who appears to have special powers. When the monastery takes possession of a precious relic, a large carving of Christ on the cross, the new boy encounters Jesus for the first time and is transfixed. However, the boy's indigenous spiritual life does not get gel with the mission's Christianity, and his mysterious power becomes a threat. Sister Eileen is faced with a choice between the traditions of her faith and the truth embodied in the boy. In this story of spiritual struggle and the cost of survival. So, yeah, that's the gist of things. Now, we do have a director's statement. It reads, when I was a young boy, my mother sent me away to a remote boarding school, a missionary style place that was run by Spanish monks. I had been getting in trouble back home in Alice Springs, and it was what she thought I needed to sort me out. And she was right. I had never been inside a church before. I walked into the church building for the first time and saw this guy being tortured on a big wooden cross, and it freaked me out. But then I grew to embrace it, and this thing called Christianity that was so different to the Aboriginal spirituality that I'd grown up with. What was interesting to me was, despite it seeming like they clashed, I could see how the Aboriginal spirituality I was raised with and the Christianity could actually gel together really well. It's up to the human, not to religion. A lot of Dreamtime Aboriginal stories run on the same moral basis as Bible stories. If you do this, you'll get in trouble, so don't do it. Aboriginal people are generally happy to embrace Christianity alongside their own spiritual beliefs, but it doesn't happen the other way around. Christianity must conquer. It's from these experiences that the idea for the new boy was born. So, yeah, I think, look, when I watched this film, that's what I kind of assumed. Like we start off and we have this boy, and you're not quite sure what the fuck's going on. Like, is it a play fight? Are they messing around? Then you're like, wait, I think he's trying to, strangle this policeman. Right, runs off. Then someone hits him with a boomerang, which that might be the first time I've actually seen a boomerang used in that way. Right, but I was kind of like, hmm. I'm sure that boy knows what a fuck a boomerang is, right? So I was a little shocked at the beginning, but yeah. So they get this kid, and then they transport him to this monastery in a sack, which I was like, "Yo, that's fuckeries, right?" But you from that something isn't right here, you know. So he's at this monastery, and then our film is essentially him at the monastery wandering around. Right? There are these mystical moments, but you're not really sure, is this something actually happening? Or is this kind of, I don't know, themic, right? And an analogy for something else. You know what I mean? Something along those lines. Yeah. It's hard to tell because I think when he's at the monastery, there doesn't seem to be a lot of integration. Like, you know, there's we don't know if he can speak at first, but there's no, okay, look, let's try and teach you how to read. Can you read? Can you write? Like, there's none of that, which it just seems a little bit odd, right? And he's not forced to go to church or anything like that. So it is a little unclear what is actually happening. You know, what is this process? Towards the end, I think you can draw those faults, like, oh, right, is the Christianity like taking away his powers, as it were? Right? Is that what is happening here? You know, but I think if you know the shit that went down in Australia, I mean, you can get the film. If you don't know any of that, I'm not sure you will necessarily get it, because that was the thing, man. Like, they take fucking Aboriginal kids from their parents, right? They would take them from their parents, put them with white people, right? Be like, oh, we want you to be cultured. We want you to have Christianity in your lives. You know what I mean? It was just fucking horrendous. And look, the crazy, I think it was up to the 80s where that shit was still going on. Right? With a lot of stuff, you'd be like, that was horrendous. Oh, I'm so glad it ended, then. Yo, this went on for a long time, a long fucking time. It was just, and they're constantly finding remains around monasteries, around these supposed children's homes of Aboriginal kids, babies. There was just horrific things that were done. So I think if you understand all of that, if you've read, you'll get this film a bit more. But if you don't know any of that, I don't know if this film is that clear. I think you have to draw a lot of conclusions from what could be going on, you know. So you can only do that with a level of knowledge, right? It looks nice. The acting is fine, but it's not. I don't know. We don't really get a lot, right? There's this whole thing about Don Julian, I think is the name of the priest, right? There's this whole thing around this Don Julian character, which I've got to say, I don't, there's this whole scene with Sister Eileen and Sister Mum. Yeah, no, no, it didn't convince me at all, right? I'm just like, no one who's believing that. That's fucking bizarre. So, there's just these weird moments. It's an odd film, right? It's an odd film. Yeah. I think you want to like it more, right? But I feel just a little indifferent by it. It didn't touch me at all, you know? And knowing the history, it'd be something that really, opened it up. But I just didn't really think it did. But people, you can check out The New Boy yourselves as it is hitting cinemas Friday the 15th of March. If you like Warren Fulton's work, then yeah, this could well speak to you. Yeah, I can't really think of anything that it's similar to, you know? I'm not really. I mean, if you think of something like the Royal Hotel, that one, it just didn't really. I don't think the point was really there, So you could say it's similar to that, but it's a completely different film. But yeah, if you've checked out Fulton's previous work, then you know, yeah, I mean, you'll probably understand what kind of filmmaker he is, and it could possibly work for you in that regard. But yeah, it is in cinemas this Friday, the 15th of March. So yeah, maybe go check it if it sounds like it could be for you.